Trent Alexander Arnold's off to Madrid. The official announcement will come very soon, but it's caused the same debate that I'm sure it caused in the late 90s with Steve McManaman. It was the exact same move. A Scouser who had been brought up by Liverpool, been played and given his first team debut, has then run out his contract and then moved to Madrid. Steve McManaman still has a lot of hatred from a certain group of Liverpool fans. It's early days, but Trent seems to be receiving quite a lot of the same hatred. So should homegrown players be loyal to their club? One set of fans would argue, yeah, of course they should. Especially with the Liverpool example. This season, they're going to win the Premier League. Trent will be one of the main focuses of that. And after the rebuild starts, once the Mohamed Salahs, the Van Dijks retire, Trent will be the captain of the club and will take them into the next generation. People say that they gave him his first team debut and he owes the clubs and also the fans. The most contentious part with these homegrown players is the no transfer fee, isn't it? For some fans, it can be essentially seen as hurting the club that has raised him. Liverpool, as we know, work off somewhat of a sell to buy transfer policy. So they just reinvest the funds that they gain through transfer sales. And the fact that Trent ran his contract down means obviously Liverpool aren't going to get a transfer fee, so it'll be harder to replace him. If Trent left 2 or 3 years ago, Liverpool probably could have demanded 50 to 100 million for him, and then they'd have the pick of the best right backs in the world. However, to me, this anger feels slightly misguided because it's going towards Trent. Surely it has to go towards the club. Jadon Sancho is a great example. He's coming through the Man City academy, and I believe they had some contract issues where he thought he wanted to get first team football and get paid more money, and eventually Borussia Dortmund took the opportunity to buy him, and then he went back to England for a huge fee. So at the time, some Man City fans were looking at Sancho thinking, he's got too big for his boots, he's only 17, 18 years old. However, why is the anger never pointed towards the club? Because the club could have looked at that position and gone, he's one of the most touted young players in the world at the moment. Why don't we just overpay him within reason and give him what he wants within reason? And then you got one of the best wingers at the time coming through your academy. Nowadays, players can run down the contract if they want, and I think it's the easiest it's ever been to go as a free agent. But it's not impossible for the clubs to sell them. They can make it hard for them. Look what Man United have done with Rashford. You can question it, but they basically iced him out of the club and forced him to make a move. I don't agree with the way they do it, but if Liverpool wanted to sell Trent to Real Madrid 2 or 3 years ago, they would have sold him. But they risked it, they took a gamble, and they're probably going to win a Premier League because of it. But they're also going to get no transfer fee. Especially with homegrown players nowadays, I think it also amplifies the anger towards agents, doesn't it? Because agents they're a bit of a bloodsucker in the game, aren't they? And they make their players run down the contracts. So essentially, they can get more money from the clubs that are trying to get them. Because if Real Madrid don't have to give PSG a transfer fee for Mbappe, how much money is available that they were going to spend that they can give to the agent because he might be demanding it. They can give to the player, they can give to so many people involved with it. And it might be the cynical side of me, but there could be a good reason why Trent did run down his contract so that his agent, which I believe is his brother, they can get more money off Real Madrid. But it always seems it's pushed on homegrown players, this guilt of running down the contract, because I know he's older, but Kevin De Bruyne at the moment, he's running down his contract. He's probably not going to sign a new one. And he's probably going to go on a free transfer to Saudi or the MLS. He wouldn't have commanded a lot, but they probably could have got 30, 40, 50 million out of him still. Gini Wijnaldum for Liverpool. Yeah, he was older, but they could have got a higher transfer fee than what they got from PSG. It feels like there's still this guilt of these homegrown players and what they need to repay to the club. If you want to be serious about it, Trent didn't cost Liverpool anything in terms of a transfer fee. He's won the Premier League, the Champions League, all the cups that he could have. He's been in multiple Premier League team of the season. So, in my opinion, he's repaid the club. I also think with homegrown players that they seem to get lost within the wage structure of a lot of these clubs. For example, Bukayo Saka is the 6th highest paid player at Arsenal. In my opinion, Bukayo Saka is their most important player by a considerable distance at the moment. But Kai Havertz is on so much more money than Bukayo Saka, and that's because he was brought in from another club. Phil Foden until 2022 was on 60 grand a week. I know it's a lot of money, but in relative terms, compared to some of the other players at Man City, that's nothing. And to me, this is because their first pro contract that they sign will be a 4 or 5 year deal, and it might be 20, 30, 40k a week, and they might be able to negotiate a slight increase in that. But you look at it, a lot of the time, the club doesn't really have the incentive to pay the player that much more. Because like I say, there's the guilt of wanting to stay. A lot of these players will want to stay anyway because it's the hometown club, so they've got that selling point for them, so it's not like they're going to look anywhere for the first few years of the career. Because let me pose some of the Arsenal fans a question. If Miles Lewis-Skelly came out next season, or the season after let's say, he's played in the 2026 World Cup, he's started, he's been brilliant, the lad's on 4k a week at the moment. So let's say he gets bumped up to 40k a week this season, which is a huge increase. The season after that, I mean, he might be one of the best left-backs in Europe within the next couple of years, but he'll be on a lower wage than all of the other Arsenal defenders. So is it greedy if he looks at other clubs because they might pay him 150, 200k a week? Some people will argue yes, fair enough. In my opinion, no, I don't think that is greedy. I think that's just opportunistic, and I think is what a lot of people would do. But you guarantee if that happens, the shouts of greedy, prima donna, big time Charlie will be coming from the stadium. I mean, literally think of Ashley Cole, who was in his prime. Arsenal wouldn't pay him what he wanted, and yes, he moved to a London rival in Chelsea. The greedy shout has followed him through his entire career. So for me, and it's not just to do with salary, but a lot of these players don't owe the club anything. However, sometimes they do though. Homegrown players get so much more pressure than a lot of the players that are brought in. Look at Rashford for Man United. Look at Harry Kane for Spurs. It was all on their shoulders to make the clubs great. But also, they do get quite a lot of allowances sometimes. Curtis Jones, who I'm a big fan of, if he was Scouse, would he still be in the Liverpool team? I mean, he's been a squad player for years now. Would he have moved on by now? Would he have gone to a Crystal Palace, a Brighton? Eddie Nketiah has over 100 appearances for Arsenal. Don't tell me Eddie Nketiah is a player who deserves to have over 100 appearances for Arsenal. He was a decent impact sub, but you can see him at Crystal Palace now. Mateta's injured and he's made little to no impact. So I do think they are giving more time, because the upside is Bukayo Saka, who's an absolute hero at Arsenal. Rashford, for a certain period of time, was a huge hero at Man United. They're giving so many sponsorships, opportunities, because the clubs want to promote them in any way they can. Jay Spearing had a good amount of appearances for Liverpool, and he met LeBron James. Jay Spearing met LeBron James. If that's not an opportunity for a homegrown player, then I don't know what is. So this definitely doesn't mean the player has to be loyal to the club until the day they die, but let's not pretend there's a lot of benefits to it. Marcus Rashford got given a ridiculous contract from Man United. Because why? He was the best youth academy product they've had since the 2000s. He's not the best player at the club. He shouldn't be on that amount of money. And if he was at any other club, he'd be the 6th, 7th, 8th highest paid player. Reece James got made captain at Chelsea. Reece James is a fantastic player, but he's not available. He's the highest paid player at Chelsea, but he's played, a handful of times over the last couple of years? That, again, is a benefit that a homegrown player has had from the club. And if he wasn't a homegrown player, he would have left Chelsea quite a long time ago, because they probably would have washed their hands with him. I personally don't think Trent has done anything wrong. I think he's seen a new opportunity. He's gone to the biggest club in the world. He's won everything at Liverpool, and he's been one of the main reasons why they've won everything. Liverpool and Liverpool fans don't own the rights to Trent Alexander Arnold for the rest of his career, the rest of his life. Yeah, of course, it would have been great for Scouser to be captain of Liverpool again, get them back to the Premier League, get them back to the Champions League. But on the flip side, and if there's any Scousers, you tell me, is it quite entertaining to see a young Scouse lad go to the Bernabeu and become one of the best players potentially? I mean, I think it's really cool that one of the best players in the world starting in midfield for Real Madrid is from Birmingham. If Trent moved to Saudi or America, there's no class in that move, is there? And I think a lot of the criticism would be justified. There's definitely the argument to be had that homegrown players need to be more loyal to the clubs. There's definitely an argument if a homegrown player needs to be more loyal to their own club. But it's a weird guilt thing and a never enough attitude that a player needs to stay there until literally they have no more energy left in them. I just disagree, but let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like on the video, that'd be great. Subscribe, fantastic. But thanks for watching.